Hello YouTube, this is David from the Mr. Black YouTube channel. Today I'm going to give you a Dead of the Night Easter egg guide. So, before we get started, the first thing I would like to recommend is if you are ever confused about anything that's going on in this video, you may want to check out the guide that I'm going to link in the description of the video. This is my Dead of the Night map guide. So that guide will show you where all the parts are and everything. So if you don't have like maybe a good path to get all the parts or something, you can go ahead and watch that guide, but you can also watch just this guide, and I will supercut what I'm doing, and you can probably kind of mimic it in your game. The route I take in this guide for the Easter egg is going to be a little bit different from the route I take in my map survival guide, sort of, so to speak. So, like, if you want a good survival setup, it's going to be different from that, but also very, 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 very similar. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your class setup. What I recommend is anywhere but here. If you get cornered by zombies, pop this. You'll be safe. And you also don't have to kill the last one too if you're trying to save a zombie. Stock option. You can use stock option. You can also use Arsenal Accelerator. If you're in co-op, I would say use nowhere but there. So that is this one right here. So if one of your teammates goes down, you can teleport straight to them. You know, not have to worry about them dying. Your next thing you can use, I suggest, is probably Temporal Gift. Again, if a double points drops, you can pop this. It'll make it last longer. You can get more points, possibly. And then I also recommend using Equipment. So Equipment allows you to basically, if you do end up getting the homunculus out of the box, which we won't need the homunculus for this Easter egg, mind you, but if you do get it out of the box and you want some more homunculuses, you can go and do this. Or even if you just want some more Wraithfires, Equipment's always good to have. Alright, for your perks, I recommend you run Dying Wish, Quick Revive, Winter's Wail, and I recommend that you have your Odin always set to stamina up. Dying Wish, so if you get hit by a bunch of zombies, you keep all your perks, you don't go down. Quick Revive, so you regenerate your health faster after being hit by something. Winter's Wail is going to be very important for this Easter egg. There's going to be a lot of steps we're going to be utilizing Winter's Wail to help buy us time to go and look for things. It's just, especially if you're a solo player doing Easter eggs, Winter's Wail is a great perk to have on certain maps. Can't recommend it enough. And then finally, Stamina Up as the Owen, just so we can get from point A to point B faster, because it is a pretty large map. And, when you're trying to run around, and a lot of these steps in this Easter egg do require us to run around, I do highly, highly recommend you use Stamina Up as your Odin. That's a great Odin to have. For your special weapon, I'd say the Hammer of Valhalla is perfectly fine. It works well, gets the job done, it has high DPS. If you're in co-op, I'd say you can use the Scepter of Ra, just so that way you can revive your teammates and they keep all their perks. For your equipment, doesn't really matter. Again, I'm always partial to the Wraithfire just because it seems like throughout every map in the game, like, you can never go wrong using the Wraithfire. You will always be at an advantage if you use the Wraithfire. So it's kind of like a safety equipment, so to speak, and it's just good equipment in general. And then finally, your starting weapon, it does not matter at all, but I like to use the Strife because I get the Bayonet Operator mod, which gives me a one-hit melee kill until round 5. Alright, so without further ado, I will meet you in the game, and I will then supercut between everything I'm going to do. Alright, so I just spawned into the game. So the first thing I'm going to do is melee knife all the zombies until there's one left. Alright, so I just meleeed all my zombies. I'm going to open the first door out of this room, and I'm going to check for my first shield part spawn, which can be right here on this little ledge. So now I open the next door, and I checked my next shield spot, and it's right there. I activated the Sentinel artifact. I checked for my third possible shield spot, which is on the west balcony up against this wall right here. I checked for my first candle spawn, which is on this table right after entering the entrance hall, just right here. I went over to the billiards room, and I checked for my second candle spot spawn, which is like right here. And I also checked for my first charcoal spawn, which is in fact here. I'm going down the stairs of the grand staircase, and then I'm going towards the kind of right area over here to check my next candle spot, which is right here. So it's just to the right of this fireplace on this little, like, underneath this little vase right here. I turn around from the fireplace and where I check for my candle, and right here, if you did not get your charcoal already, it's right here. I'm going up the stairs on the east, up to the east balcony to check for my first red letter spot. It can be right there on the left wall at the top of the stairs. I went into the east bedroom, which again is just following around those stairs in here. The first thing I would do here normally is I would check for my charcoal. If my charcoal's not there, I can check for my next red letter spot, which is right there. In this case, it is a red A, and I'm going to note them down as such. While I'm here in the east bedrooms, I'm going to start working on my crystal. I'm going to look through my first crystal. I'm going to the bottom right of the main stairs, and I'm going to open the first door to the wine cellar. The first thing I like to do is go straight ahead and check for my red letter on that barrel if I haven't gotten it yet. Otherwise, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to check on this table right here for my next part, which is the silver plate. If the silver plate is not here on the table, you can turn around. It'll be kind of here on the wall, I think towards the right. And if it's not there, you can go around to the other side of this wall, and it'll be somewhere over here. I think it's in the middle, though. So I'm going to work on getting my next crystal charged and look through. So I'm going to gaze through my next crystal. I'm going to open the door underneath the west balcony right here. I'm going to check my first vase spawn, which in fact did spawn here. I'm going to go into the library and get my second shield part so it can spawn here on this sofa. If it's not there, it's over here on this broken shelf. And then if it's not on that broken shelf, you're just going to go diagonally left and then up these stairs. On this first table on the left, after you get to the top of the stairs, is the last possible spot. While I'm here in the library, I'm going to work on my next crystal, so I'm going to get the kills, and I'm also going to gaze through it once it's fully charged. Alright, so my next crystal's charged up, so I'm going to go ahead and look through it. I'm going to go ahead and return back to the main hall out of the library. I'm going to go ahead and open the door underneath the east balcony right here. Once I got here, I'm going to check my first possible shield part, which is right here. And then if that shield part is not there, it can be over here to the left of this debris right here on this ledge. If it's not there, it is sort of like to the right or the left. I think it's to the right of that little green like stool that's right there on the floor. Another thing you can check for in this room once you first get here is you can look right here for your second possible silver vase spot. So it can spawn right here on this table or one of those chairs. I mean, you'll see it if it's there. It's hard to miss. And then if it's not there, it's just right here on the kind of bottom left of that this giant dining table in the middle of the room, kind of like right here. Finally, if you haven't gotten your red letter yet, just look up towards that painting and you'll see it. I'm going to go ahead and build my molten cast early and then collect it. We're going to need that later for the silver bullets. You should have all the parts for it by now if you've been following this guide step by step. I'm also going to go ahead and build my shield while I can just to make these next steps a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and get to work on getting my first tuning fork, which I always like to do first, which is the Grandfather Clock Challenge. I think it's the one that requires the least amount of labor of all these, and early on in the game when you don't have that good of weapons, when you don't have a lot of points to open doors, it does not hurt to go ahead and just go for this challenge first, in my opinion. It's not too hard to do. You have the Wraithfires, hopefully anyways. I hope you have the Wraithfires. If not, that's fine, but Wraithfires help with this step. You have your Specialist, you have the Shield. I mean, even though you only have the Strife, you know, in round 5, you have a lot of options to help survive here if things get a little bit too tough. So I just finished my first challenge, which I always like to do first, which is the Grandfather Clock, and I'm going to collect my tuning fork. I'm going to go ahead and buy the Spitfire before I continue on to the next challenge. And I'm going to go start my Ghost Challenge. So in my case, it was the Creepy Doll. And I will give one suggestion for this step. I do recommend that you have some points first before you do it, and that's what I went ahead and did. I went ahead and killed some zombies before I started this step. So just make sure you have points because the ghost may go through some doors, and if you don't have them open, it doesn't hurt to have some points. It also doesn't hurt to have the Spitfire at this point. Spitfire is a very, very good weapon to have in the game, and we'll actually be using the Spitfire to kill the final boss, so that's going to be really fun. It's all you need, along with the Wonder Weapon, so nice and simple. So I got my next tuning fork. In this case, my ghost took me to the cemetery. So while I'm here, I'm probably going to go ahead and get my blue letter and other parts and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and check for my first blue letter. It's not there. I'm going to check for my second blue letter and also check for the feces. Not there. Third spot for the blue letter over here is on the lion statue, which is, in this case, is a blue L. I'm going to go ahead and go down and check the next spot for the feces, and it looks like it's there. If the feces was not there, it would be around here, kind of on the ground, like right over there. In this kind of area. And if you didn't get your blue letter yet, it's over there on the wall just to the left of the gate that leads back to the mansion. I'm going to go ahead and open the door to the front or the back of the house and look for my yellow symbol. So I open it, I look up there to the left, it's not there. I can go down here to this gate right here on the left. It would be on the left side of that wall, it's not there. Go on the other side, it can be straight ahead and right there. In this case, it is a yellow X, or at least it looks like an X to me. Maybe that looks like an H or something else to you. If my symbol was not there, it would be behind this Wallbuy on the side of that balcony over there. So now I'm going to open the door at the dining room. I'm going to go out here to the gardens and the laboratory. I'm going to check my first spot for my green letter, and hey, look at that, we got it early. So I have a green L, so we now have all the symbols we need for the folly. I'm going to go ahead and open up this door right here to the laboratory, and I'm going to collect my sulfur. It can be here. If the sulfur's not there for you, it's over here on the table, just the other side. And then finally, the last spot for the sulfur is right over here on this table in the far back left of the labs. And then finally, if you're still looking for your green letter, you can go into the gardens and then go to the left here where this gazebo is. Look to the back of the gazebo. Inside on the top left wall, and there's your next possible spot. And then the next possible spot for your letter can be over there past that barricade. And then if it's not there, it's going to be out here on the barricade over there, I believe. I'm also going to be working on getting my next tuning fork since I'm here. So I got my next tuning fork. So now at this point, I am going to return to the library, and I am going to do a few things while I am there, now that I have all this stuff with me. First thing I'm going to do is craft the silver bullets over here on this workbench and put them on my Spitfire. Second thing I'm going to do is go get my Chaos Theory part, which I forgot to get earlier after I made the shield. Now the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my Folly. So if I look at my notes, I have a blue L, green L, yellow X, then a red A. There we go. I just now got my Alistair's Folly. I'm going to open up Pack-a-Punch, and I'm going to make sure that I kill the werewolf with the silver bulleted weapon, which in this case, and hopefully in your case too, because I do recommend you get the Spitfire, is the Spitfire. So I killed the werewolf with my silver bullets, and I got the chaos material. Alright, so this is going to be where the first big deviation happens from my regular Dead of the Night map guide with my Easter egg guide. Now, if you'll notice, through my supercut, I did not actually follow my original guide the exact same way, because again, there's multiple different ways to do it. You can follow the exact same route I did in my previous map guide, and it works just as fine. Or you can do it how I did in this game, you know. The more you learn about the map, the better you're able to kind of mend this map to what you want to get and where you want to get it and how you want to get it, you know. So for this map, knowledge really is power. But anyways, enough rambling on. So to officially start the Easter egg, after you get Pack-a-Punch open, what you have to do is return to all of the original crystals that you filled earlier and just look through them again. Now do note, you will not get a prompt this time to look through the crystal, but if you go up to it and use your use button, you will actually look through the crystal anyways. So you need to look through all of the original 3 crystals, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to cut to me going to the other ones. So now I'm doing the one in the wine cellar. Now I'm doing the one in the library. So, what you're going to do for this Easter egg is basically, by looking through those 3 crystals the way you did, what happened is that enabled the 3 main challenge quests you have to complete in order to start the final boss fight of this Easter egg. So that's how this Easter egg works. Essentially, all it is, really, is you do 3 challenges on the map, and then after you complete each challenge, you get a stone, and then after you get that stone, you use 3 stones to unlock the door to the boss fight. So there's a telescope challenge, there's an effigy challenge, and then there's also a night statue challenge. Now, generally speaking, usually the one you can start the quickest is the telescope challenge. But you might be wondering, why is that? Well, the other 2 challenges require the Alistair's Annihilator, and we don't quite have that yet. So really, the one we can start the soonest would be the telescope challenge. But we can also work on another challenge, which is the effigy challenge, at the same time. So once you've looked through all your crystals, come here to the library, and you're going to head towards the cemetery. When you first get in this area, you're going to look up and to the left. There will be a birch tree, and its flowers will kind of feather off there. Not flowers, but its leaves. Towards the bottom of the tree will be a tiny branch you need to shoot. Alright? There are 5 birch trees throughout the cemetery. You're going to shoot each tree, like the branch off of each tree, and then go up and use it, and it will fly away. This is to build the base of the effigy statue that we will be using later for the effigy challenge quest. So your first tree is always over there after coming out of the mansion to the left. The second one, after you go up this hill, just following the left path again, is right up here. So the first birch tree is just right up here after you just get out. It's hard to miss. After you hit that tree, you can go ahead and head this way. Your next tree is going to be over here, just across from it. So again, you're going to look for that branch towards the bottom stem of the tree. Go ahead and square it after it falls to the ground. You're going to then go up these stairs to the right of the Mausoleum. Your next tree is going to be over here. You can go ahead and shoot your next branch off of it if you so please. I'm going to freeze this guy just so I can continue to focus on doing this without getting interrupted. And then you can run over here after you shoot off that branch. And the final tree is right over here to the top left of the Mausoleum. Alright? There we go. So you should have 5 branches in total. And if you want to see where this effigy statue is actually built, you can go over here. So I believe it's right over here. Yep, right here. So you see we got the 5 branches. That's how we know we did it right. Now, this is important. If you are playing to do this Easter egg in co-op, have all your players come out here with you to do this branch step. Not because of the branch step itself, but in order to start the telescope quest, all players in the game have to shoot that top little beam on top above the Mausoleum with a weapon with silver bullets. So make sure all the players in your party have silver bullets, and make sure they come to the Mausoleum with you to simultaneously shoot that up there in order to get to change and shoot that beam out towards the main hall. That's very important. So after you've done that, you can go ahead and return to the main hall. So I will cut to you once I get there. So when you return to the main hall, just go back to your main spawn area. Doesn't matter which side. You're going to go to the little bridge area that connects the 2 spawn points. When you get here, these 3 panels are going to open up around this area right here. Alright? So using your Murder's Whale, lead the zombie out here. And all you have to know about this challenge is this challenge right here is basically like a Rubik's Cube. Okay? This panel on the far left controls the blue color. This panel in the middle controls kind of all 3 colors. And this panel in the middle controls the red and green color. So, sorry, it's blue and green, blue, red, and green, and then just green and red. Okay, I know that sounds complicated, but trust me, to solve it, it's really easy. And I'm going to give a shout out to Chaos Basilisk. He found a very easy way to get this step done and solve it pretty much every time. So here's how you're going to do it. Turn the far left first, okay? And you're going to turn it until you get blue to reflect off that little mirror right there. So you can turn it right to turn it that way, or if you need to turn it back, you can turn it left. So just aim a certain direction, and you can hold square on the lever and turn it. So again, you're going to turn this one on the far left until it turns blue. Alright, now after you got that one set to blue, you're going to go to the lever on the far right, which is over here. You're going to turn it until green is matching up with its mirror. Alright, so let's see if we can not get green to match up with its mirror. So I'm just holding square. You might have to stop here, go back a little bit if you pass it up. Okay, there we go. So now I turn the right one until green's matched. Alright, now what you're going to do is you're going to turn the middle one until red is lined up. And again, shout out to the YouTuber Chaos Basilisk for finding this out. It's a good way to do this every time, and it seems to work pretty well throughout most games. So we're going to turn this until red's lined up. So let's see. I'm just watching my mirrors, trying to match it up in time. Let's see. So we got to get red to reflect. Oh, there we go. I just moved it, though. Hang on. I'm going to have to go and turn that back. Okay. There we go. So now we got red lined up. All right. So now that red's lined up, all we have to do is turn left until blue is lined up once more. Alright? And that should get every time, I think. Alright? So let's see. Oh, come on. Pick a direction. Commit to it. So yeah, so basically all you have to do for this step, again, turn left until blue is lined up. Turn right until... Yep, so there you go. Turn right until green is all the way lined up. Turn middle until red's lined up, and then turn this far left one until blue is lined up with its mirror again, and then you'll get it right pretty much every time, I believe. You'll know you've gotten this challenge right when the heads of the statue breaks. It's very obvious to tell when the step's been done correct. So again, when the statue's head has been blown off, that's how you know it is done right. So I am going to get back to you once I have a zombie saved at the end of the round, so we can move on to the next step. Alright, so I have one zombie left, and I'm going to explain the next step of this telescope quest. So what you have to do is there's going to be 7 different areas of the map that potentially house a Zodiac sign in a specific spot in the rooms of these 7 locations on the map. Now, when that room has the Zodiac sign, it's also going to have scratch marks in it. What you are going to be doing is you are going to find the Zodiac sign in the room, which they all spawn in the same location, so they're pretty easy to find. I'll show you each spot. And then after you find that sign, you're going to go to all the spots where the scratch marks spawn in, and you're going to count the individual kind of scratches. So each line, you know, so let's say if you see like 5 scratches on the wall, you're on like one spot, and then 2 on the next, you're going to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, so there you go, like that. You're going to count the total amount of scratch marks that are in each spot, and then you're going to add them all up together. Alright? So you're going to add all the scratch marks up together after you check the 3 spots. If there is not a scratch mark in a spot where there would be a scratch mark, that's basically adding 0. So that means you're not going to add anything to the additional to the tally. Alright? The way this step works is once you find the 3 symbols, so you're going to find the symbol, you're going to note down the symbol. It's technically a Zodiac symbol, although a lot of the guides out there, they give you the wrong looking symbols. I'm going to give you the right looking symbols because I just don't know why they never gave you the right looking symbols. Maybe they just weren't available or something. But you're going to find the symbol. You're going to note it down. Like, so maybe it's Capricorn, maybe it's Gemini, Sagittarius, whatever. I'm not super into the Zodiac thing. Aries, whatever. And then you're going to do a comma, or not a comma, but like a hyphen, and then you're going to, after adding all those up, you are going to basically just leave it there, and then you're going to move on to your next symbol. So there's 3 symbols in total that spawn. There's 7 different locations, and each location has 3 different spots for a potential scratch mark to spawn. Alright? So, again, I will put something up on the screen. I will show you notes, and I will also show you a game. It is a separate game, mind you, but don't worry, it still applies to this game. I'll show you a separate game where I show you all the spots, all the scratch marks, a good route to get those spots and scratch marks, and also I will show you this game I'm playing right now when I get each symbol, so you can see what it looks like in game 2, and then also me doing this step, okay? And then one last thing I want to mention. There is one glitch about this step, and this is kind of important. Sometimes you have to look at where the scratch marks are, or like where they would be, like carved in the wood or into the wall or whatever. Sometimes you have to look in those areas, and you have to look there for like a decent period of time before the symbol will appear. But if you ever see scratch marks in a room while you're also looking for the symbol, so maybe you see both at the same time, if you ever see scratch marks, any scratch marks in a room, you're guaranteed to have the Zodiac symbol in that room. Alright? Anyways, after you collect all 3 symbols, you're going to head to the laboratory, and we're going to punch them into the device at the laboratory, the little telescope at the top. So you would hold square to switch around between the different symbols, and then you press the melee button, so you knife the button in the middle to punch in your Zodiac sign or Zodiac symbol. But here's the trick. It's not just having the right symbols. You have to punch them in the order from the one that has the least amount of added scratch marks to the one that has the most added scratch marks. Again, I'm going to show you all of this in the game, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to show you all the different spots for the signs and then the scratch marks. And then I'll get back to you in this game where I do it for you live. Okay, so your first possible Zodiac location is right here. This is just in the main hall, kind of where these stairs are that lead up to the west balcony, but it's just behind this chandelier right here on the wall. Your first possible scratch mark is you're just going to make a left, and behind this kind of statue right here in the water on that wall right there is your next possible scratch mark. The next possible scratch marks for this area are right here on the right above the east side fireplace. That's kind of right here, kind of next to where we got our little candle part right there. And then, final possible scratch mark, you're just going to make a left from there. You're going to go past this little Wallbuy right here, make a right. And up here in this little engraving, kind of on the top left right there, is your last possible location for the scratch mark here. Alright, so the next possible location for your next Zodiac symbol is, while still here in the main room, let's say you've already checked your spot over there, you can run over here to the wine cellar, go through the left stairs right here, and then you can check on the other side of this wall right here. So right here, just in this kind of bottom right little area, that is your next possible spawn for your Zodiac symbol. It can spawn right there. So you just come down the stairs, go through this left kind of entryway, and then in the bottom right shelf up against that wood carving right there, that will be where your next symbol is. So your scratch marks, your first set of scratch marks are going to turn around, go towards this barrier right here. On top of this specific barrel right here behind this candle frame is going to be your first possible scratch mark set. You're going to turn around, and then you are going to look right here kind of towards this middle area, and then on this little cabinet is going to be your next possible set of scratch marks. And then finally, you're just going to run all the way over here to the other corner of the room. Right here behind this broken barrel on this kind of keg is going to be where your final set of possible scratch marks for this area are. Okay, so let's say you've checked down here. Maybe you got your symbol and your marks noted down, maybe not. The next place I recommend you go check after this is you're going to run up these stairs. You're going to go up the main stairs, and then you are going to go into the entrance hall. So after you get here at the entrance hall, just going through the front of it, the door, your next symbol can spawn underneath this far kind of table in the room. So just come through the door, far back left, prone, and then look up. Your next Zodiac symbol can spawn right there. Your first set of scratch marks can spawn over here. Just kind of get up on these stairs and look to on the side of the shield right here. If it's hard to kind of see them, it's okay, because I mean the texture is kind of a little warped with the way the other textures are. So if you just look at this statue, you know, you can kind of just use that as a reference point if you're having trouble distinguishing between like the vines and then the actual scratch marks. Your next set of scratch marks can spawn right here, so just make a right, and then on the bottom left of this kind of like set of pillars right here, they can spawn right there. If they're not right there, just across from that little pillar right there, look to the top right of this painting, and then your next set of scratch marks can spawn right there. So if you didn't get your symbol there, you need to check your next spot. You can leave the entrance hall, make a left. This time you're going into the billiards room, so that's right over here. Once you're in the billiards room, your next Zodiac symbol can spawn here. So just go over to this table with the chest and the liquor bottles on it in the back left of the room. Prone and look up. Your next symbol can spawn under here on the kind of top of this table right here. And then after you look there, your first set of scratch marks can spawn to the top left of this bookshelf, kind of right there. If your set of scratch marks is not there, you can run over here to this next chest table over here in the corner of the room, or like there's checkers or whatever on it. Go prone, and then your next set of scratch marks can be right there on the floor. And if they're not there, just turn around and look to the top left of this liquor cabinet right here, and then your next set of scratch marks are kind of right there in that area. So if your symbol is not here in the billiards room, you can just head straight into the library. Your next possible symbol is going to be here. So the symbol spawn, if you go to where the folly is, like on the case on the wall, make a left in this little broken glass display right here. Right here engraved in that center of that wood is going to be your next possible Zodiac symbol spawn. Let me get this zombie out of the way. Your first set of scratch marks, you're just going to go left of this and up against this barrier in the top right corner here. You'll see them right there. If they're not there, you're going to come back here to where this glass display is. Just look straight back. And then on the bottom of this kind of like crate right here can be the next set of scratch marks. And then finally, if they're not there, you're going to go up these stairs right here about halfway. Look down, and underneath the foot right there of that dinosaur, underneath the dinosaur's left foot right there, that is going to be your next set of scratch marks for the room. So, you've checked the library. So after you've checked the library, you can go ahead and exit it whatever way you want. And then I recommend you run over here to the east bedrooms. So we're just going to go up these stairs, go through here, and then go through this door on the top floor. Your Zodiac symbol can spawn here in the east bedrooms. The first possible spot is to the left of this barrier in the far back left of the room. Just look behind the lamppost on this kind of left wooden wall. Alright? So if your symbol spawns there. Your first possible set of scratch marks are going to be to the bottom left of this fireplace in the same room. If they're not there to the bottom left of that fireplace, you can go ahead and run into this tiny room right here. They can be underneath this little desk with the lamp on it. And then if they're not underneath that desk with a lamp on it, you can look in here into this little barrier in the same room. And then just above the bathtub right there in the middle kind of wall, that's going to be your last set of possible scratch marks for this room. So, you've been up here in this room, and let's say you've checked all your possible spots here. If you still have not gotten your 3 Zodiac symbols yet, The last possible spot you can check is in the dining hall. Quickest way to get there is just open this debris here and then go down these stairs. You'll be right there. So the symbol can spawn right over here, kind of on the right of the entrance that leads to outside. Right here on the side of this engraving right here, this little wall, on the stone right here on the right side, it can spawn right there in that. Okay, to check for your first set of scratch marks, you're going to look up here, kind of right there in between these two like symbols in the middle on the left. After you check there for your scratch marks, you can turn around. Your second set's going to be right here on the dining room's kind of middle table. It's just going to be kind of next to where that one silver vase can spawn, but a little bit more to the left right there. And then finally, the last possible spot you can check is you're going to go back here, right underneath this kind of middle table area where you can also check for the silver vase. It's just going to be in the kind of back diagonal left corner right there if you come from this side. So just around here and then back there. Alright, so I'm going to check my first possible location for a Zodiac symbol, which can be right here. I'm going to kill that guy, just be a little safer, so it'll be behind here. Again, you might have to look here for 20-40 seconds. I don't see it. I'm going to go see if there's any scratch marks. No scratch marks. So that's the first possible spot. No scratch marks. And I'm going to check the final scratch marks. Okay, so no scratch marks. And it looked pretty clean cut that that symbol wasn't there, so I'm going to go to another symbol. So I'm going to go into the wine cellar. I'm going to check for the symbol. Again, sometimes you take a while alone. Okay, yeah, there we go. Looks like we got Sagittarius or something. So we know our symbols here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my 3 scratch mark locations. So again, down here in the wine cellar, the first one's on top of this barrel. And again, you might have to aim at this for a minute to load in. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In my notes, I'm going to put down Sagittarius or whatever it's called. I forgot the exact name. So now we have 5 plus, because remember we have to add all the symbols in the room together. We have 5 here, so 5 plus. Our next scratch marks can spawn right here on this little cabinet. It looks like we have 3. I'm just going to let them load in a little bit more first though. So we have 5 plus 3. And then the last possible spot for our scratch marks are over here behind this broken barrel on this keg. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's plus 5, alright? So in my notes, I have Sagittarius, hyphen, and then 5 plus 3 plus 5. We can add those together, so 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 5 is 13. Alright, so now we have our Sagittarius, alright? So we can go ahead and check our next spot. So here at the also, so I'm going to go table. Alright, now see it, scratch marks, I'll see scratch marks there, I'll see scratch marks here, and I'll see scratch marks at the top of that pane. Alright, so we check this, so I've seen symbols in there. So now I'm going to go into the living room, which is the next possible area. So the symbol stuff can spawn right here, underneath the table. Not seeing it, and then I'm not seeing any scratch marks there, I'm not seeing any scratch marks there, and I'm not seeing any scratch marks there. So I'm inclined to believe that we do not have a Zodiac symbol here. Move on. Alright, so I'm going to check to the left of the body. I do not see a Zodiac symbol on this wall, check scratch marks, so scratch marks there. Alright, so if not there, we can turn around, back on straight, and not great, and then we check any I'm not seeing any scratch marks there, so I think this area is not clear, so now we go check our next possible locations. So I just ran to the east bedrooms, and I do think it's actually going to be the bedrooms and the dining hall because that's the only last 2 spots. Check behind this lamppost. As you can see, we do have the next Zodiac sign. So again, we can check our little sheet for reference. You can go ahead and, again, if you want to take like a snapshot with your phone or you want to like take a picture on your computer to save this for reference, go ahead. I mean, that's what I do anyways. If you don't have these all memorized, it doesn't hurt. So that's Libra. So in my notes, I'm going to put down Libra. And then I'm going to put a hyphen. And now let's check our scratch marks. Alright. So our scratch marks, we can have them over here to the left of this fireplace. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do 5 plus in case there's more. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to check over here underneath this table where the lamp is. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 plus 5. I'm going to get the zombie out of the way. And let's check above the bathtub. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so 5 plus 5 plus 5. That's 15. So I'm going to put in my notes 15 for Libra. Alright. Now, we're going to move to our last possible location, which is the dining hall. Alright, so I now arrived at the dining hall. I'm going to look to the right column right here and down towards the ground right here on the right side of it. So now it looks like we got, if I check my notes, what do we have here? We have Virgo. Alright, so we have Virgo. Okay, first set of scratch marks, we can turn around and look up there. We have 3 there, so I'm going to do 3 plus. And now I'm going to go check the table right here, kind of to the left of where we'd get that silver vase fart possibly. We have 4 there, so I'm going to do plus 4. And then the final spot, we go towards this middle area, and we look to the back, kind of top left area right there. And it looks like we do not have any scratch marks right there. So what that means is we just have 3 plus 4 plus 0. So in other words, just 3 plus 4. That is 7. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze that zombie. You might want to double check just to be sure, though, because this game can sometimes be slow to load things in. All right. So now that we have our 3 symbols and our added up scratch marks, we are going to go to the laboratory. Nice thing about doing the route I showed you for those Zodiac signs is by the time you reach the end, you will possibly just be right here at the laboratory, which just makes pretty nice. You can save some time that way. While I'm here, before I do the next Easter egg step, I'm going to go ahead and build my chaos theory. So I went ahead and built my chaos theory. Alright, so now here's what you have to do to progress the telescope step. You're just going to go up here, up these stairs to the laboratory. You're going to go over here to the telescope. If you hold square and angle your crosshair where you look, you can turn this kind of thing left or right. It's kind of inverted where you turn it. So all you're going to do is you're going to look at your notes, and you're going to enter in the symbols from the one that has the smallest amount of tallies, like scratch marks, to the one that has the most. So my first one's going to be Virgo, my second one's going to be Sagittarius, and my third one's going to be Libra based off the scratch marks in my game. Now, if you fail this step, what will happen, so if you enter them in the wrong order or you just enter in the wrong symbols, you will basically it resets the symbol spawn, so they'll spawn at different locations. And it'll also reset the scratch mark spots too, I believe. You'll just have to go find out where the symbols are again, find them again, and re-enter them. If you do this step correctly, the symbols, I think, will just stay solid, and they will not reset or anything. Alright, so I gotta do Virgo first. So if I go Virgo, it looks like that. I'm just checking my notes again, because again, I don't have all my symbols memorized. So I'm gonna have to find Virgo. It's right over here. I'm gonna enter in Virgo. I'm gonna move this zombie out of the way, because it's making my life hard. Then the next symbol that is in line after Virgo is Sagittarius. That's the one that looks like kind of like a sword in this case. Alright, so I have to go over here to Sagittarius. Excuse me. And then my last one is Libra, which is kind of like the horse kind of shoe-like type thing, which is over here. Alright. And there we go. Now if I did that correctly, these should stay solid. And there we go. We got a quote. Those stayed solid, and that's how we know that we did that step right. As you can see, everything's turning around in here. That is a good sign. So the next thing you're going to do is, after that happens, go ahead and have a friend save a zombie, or you can just use Where's Whale. Go up to this little lever right here that's just up and to the right of the stairs and turn it. Make sure you have your shield for this. With your shield out, after it's fully turned, just hold square. Once it stops moving, while holding square, take your other hand and melee this valve right here while you have it fully turned. Alright? That'll open up this little thing up here. And now, what you're going to do is you're going to need to use this electric trap right here. I don't have enough points, so I'm going to go ahead and progress the round and get some points. And then I'll show you what you have to do next. Alright, so I went ahead and kept the zombie at the end of the round. I just killed the zombies with my chaos theory, and I have enough points for this trap right here. So you will need a shield for this step. And another important part about this step, make sure that if you're doing this Easter egg in co-op, all of your teammates are here for this. What you guys are going to do is you're going to activate this trap, you're going to pull out your shield, you're going to run through the electric beam, you're going to double back. So you're going to activate it, it's going to spawn right here. You're going to pull it out, you're going to go through it, double back. You're going to run up these stairs, and then you're all just going to spam melee this telescope here. In solo, you don't really have to spam it too much, but the idea is that you need to hit it at the same time. This can be a little bit hard to communicate in game, so if you just spam it, you guys should be fine. But anyways, so what I like to do is, since I have Winner's Whale, it's going to be hard for you, or even if you're in a team, to save a zombie. I like to just Winner's Whale zombies here so that way they don't die and we don't end the round. Activate the trap, pull out the shield, run through it. It's electrocuted, double back. Go up to the telescope and go ahead and melee it. You will be on a very strict timer here. So if you look at my shield, there you go. That's how long your timer has to last. Maybe 10 seconds at the most. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that very quickly. Alright? So I went ahead and meleeed that telescope, and now, if I go down here, and I go over here just underneath the thing to the kind of middle area to like where you put down that material to the right. This thing's going to open up and it's going to reveal a stone. Now, before you do anything with this stone, I recommend you have all 4 of your perks. I recommend you have the Chaos Theory with decent ammo in it. And I recommend that you have, ideally, Spitfire ammo too, as well as having a full shield. So as long as you have the Theory, a full shield, and ideally the Spitfire with ammo in it, in this case I don't have ammo, you can go ahead and start messing with that stone. So before I mess with it, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I have the ammo. I'll get back to you when I do, and I'm going to return to the stone. Alright, so my Chaos Theory is pretty good. I have a decent amount of Spitfire ammo. What you're going to do is you and your team are going to come over here to the stone. You might want to shoot one of these down just to get the zombies off your back for a minute. You're going to go up to it and you're going to hold square. And this will start a lockdown. There will be a step at the end of this lockdown where werewolves spawn in, and you will have to kill a couple of them, so just be warned of that. Another tip I have for this is when you're initiating this step and you're actually starting it, do be aware that it's kind of finicky, like how long you have to hold square down on the stone. So just let your teammates know that you might have to go up to it and hold square on it for quite a while if you're doing this in co-op. Same thing for solo. You have to go up to it and hold square on it for a decent amount of time, so just be aware of that. Nice thing about doing it like this is I can go ahead and collect the bile I need for the Annihilator just prematurely because a bunch of vampires spawn in. And then I would like to make another general recommendation for this map. Throughout your gameplay, and especially for the final boss, you're mainly going to be using the Chaos Theory for protection and regular zombies kills, and you're going to be using the Spitfire with the silver bullets for, or just any weapon with silver bullets for werewolf kills. So that's always a good kind of rule of thumb I like to point out. So again, survival, protection, regular zombie kills, definitely use your Theory and your Annihilator. Otherwise, for the werewolf kills, I do recommend using the Spitfire. Alright, so I just killed the 3 werewolves. Make sure you finish them off once they start spawning in. That might be mandatory to end the challenge. After the lockdown ends, you can just go ahead and go up to this. So all the zombies will stop spawning in. You can use it, and then a max ammo will spawn in for you. So that is the first thing that we got done. And for the next 2 challenges, really, it's more or less the same thing. You're just doing some steps in the map, and then a stone's going to spawn in. Your team's going to hold square on it. It's going to start a lockdown. You kill the 3 werewolves or whatever, and then you get a max ammo, and you pick up the stone. And once you get all 3 stones, you basically now have access to the rest of, well, the final boss fight. I'm going to use this time to start working on getting the Alistair's Annihilator. So we did get the bile from all those vampires that spawned in earlier. So now what you can do is go ahead and go through this front gate here. And you can just work on getting your charged kind of yellow shot dug up part. And there we go. So it seems like we got, I think, at the very last spot here. At least I think that's the last spot. I've only ever seen 3 mushroom spots kind of in that forest area, so I don't think there's anything else. So with my 3 bile, I'm going to go ahead and activate the tomb that's here and kill the red Nosferatu and his minions, and then that will yield us the next part. I went ahead and I killed the bat really quick, shooting into the smoke. Got my next part.
Something for my collection.
Alright, so I'm now crafting the Annihilator, which we will need to do the next 2 challenges. Alright, so you can do the next 2 challenges in any order you want. You can do the Night Statue challenge first, or you can do the Effigy challenge first. In my opinion, I think the easiest bet for you is going to be just go ahead and work on the Effigy challenge. I wouldn't worry too much about the order you do. Again, if you want to do the Fire challenge first, go ahead. I mean, it's always going to be available to you. I've always just liked to do the Effigy challenge first, because the night challenge can be a bit tedious, and this one's a little bit easier to explain. So after you have your Alistair's Annihilator, and ideally all of your perks and everything as usual, a decent setup, what you're going to want to do is go to the cemetery. Around the cemetery, in these like kind of areas, you'll see like little gravestones. You are looking for a gravestone that has the year 1912 written on it. If you are in a co-op game, this will be one of the players in the game's gravestone. So you'll see like the character in the game, maybe the Brigadier or whatever. Their head will be on the gravestone. So in this case, since I'm in a solo game, it's always going to be the Brigadier. But if you're in co-op, maybe it might be your friend, it might be you, one of your other teammates. their head is going to be on the gravestone. Okay? Whoever's head is on the gravestone that says they died in the year 1912, they need to run and interact with it. Alright? Once you interact with the grave, you need to go return to those sticks that are over here, the effigy sticks, on this side. And then you or your teammate need to shoot the ground until you get the fire effect from the Annihilator. So it's a little ball of fire that spawns in. After the fire effect spawns in, the person who used this gravestone, so they'll be in like a little type of ghost mode, needs to go and use that effigy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that process right now. I'm probably going to freeze the zombie just to hopefully keep them away from the fire. Maybe we'll be able to save it. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and use this gravestone. I'm going to go ahead and run over to the effigy. As you can see, my screen changed to a different color. I'm going to start shooting my Annihilator on the ground until I get the fire effect. I got the fire effect. I'm going to hold square on the effigy, and then that is how you do that part. Alright? So what should happen is you should now die in the game and go to hell or whatever, and then you're going to spawn back in the afterlife. Alright? So, while in the afterlife, your teammates, if you're in a co-op game, will not be able to see you. Unfortunately, zombies can still kill you and attack you while you're in the afterlife. What your goal is, while in the afterlife, your goal is to go around the mansion and look for the ghost lady. So she can be in any of the main rooms of the mansion. I think I've heard she can be around the labs, but I think she mainly spawns in the mansion. You're going to look next to perk machines, behind barriers. You're just going to kind of hug all the rooms in the mansion, at least all the main rooms. So there, another spot she likes to spawn a lot in is over here in the entrance hall, next to this perk machine right here. So she can kind of house in perk machines, behind barricades. Unfortunately, there isn't too many exact location guides I've seen out there. People kind of just run around here. I would like to say the exact locations. I know there's definitely one next to the perk machine in the entrance hall. There's definitely one in the east bedroom, so I'm going to show you that right now. It's one of these windows. I think it's this window right here. I think she could be in there. Be in here, I think. Okay, see the quote on the floor there? Sorry, see the dialogue quote? Now that I got that dialogue quote, if you see that while you're walking around, you know you found the ghost. So sometimes they might not appear instantly. So again, look for a dialogue quote that's going to pop up also. Alright? Now, after you find the ghost, you're just going to escort her. Okay? All she's going to do is she's basically going to go back to the cemetery. So I will escort her around the map. Again, she'll phase through walls and stuff, so you might have to walk up to barriers and stuff if she goes through a barrier to get her to move again. But either way, it's just like the ghost step when we got our first tuning fork. Our second tuning fork, excuse me. You're just going to follow her around the map until she reaches the cemetery. And I will show you what to do once we get there. So once you get back to the cemetery, the ghost is just going to walk over here. And then she is going to basically burn into the ground right there. Once she does that, whoever's in the afterlife, go up to this object right here and hold square. That will return you back to the living world. Your players will be able to see you now. You're no longer in the afterlife. And then your next lockdown challenge is literally just this stone right here. So to start your next lockdown, again, you're going to bring all your teammates over here, and they're all going to hold square on that. So before I go ahead and use that stone, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to repair my shield. And also for these second and third challenges, I highly recommend you start pack-a-punching your Spitfire and getting it to the max level. So I'm also going to pack-a-punch my Spitfire. So again, I'm pack-a-punching my Spitfire. I would say just pack-a-punch it to the max level you can. Doesn't have to be fully pack-a-punch, but just whatever your points can spare. So I have almost a full Annihilator. I have basically double-packed kind of like Spitfire. And I have a full shield. So I'm going to return to the cemetery, and I'm going to start our next lockdown challenge. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to go up to the stone that's just right here outside the effigy. And then if you're in co-op, remember the people in your team have to hold square on this. And also remember that it's a little bit finicky in the sense that you do have to, everyone has to hold square for quite a while, and it might not even look like anything's happening at first, so just be aware of that. Alright, so this is the cemetery lockdown. It's pretty much the exact same as the greenhouse lockdown, except now you are here in the cemetery. So, what can you do? Well, you can camp inside here in the Mausoleum and spam your Annihilator. That's always an easy thing that you can do fairly easily, and Saves time. You can use the fire trap over there, although I do recommend you keep a hold of your fire charge for the next step because we will need it. But again, it's just the usual lockdown. You can train out here if you want to. You have the Annihilator, you have your Specialist. I think you know the drill at this point. So I'm just going to cut to when I get this challenge completed. The Specialist weapon is pretty good for killing the werewolves, and I think that was the last werewolf. Yep. So the screen flashed. So all you're going to do once the screen flashes is you're just going to return to the little stone over here. Hold square on it to pick it up, and you'll get a max ammo. Just fine and dandy. So in order to start the Night Statue Challenge, which will be the last one we need to complete before we hit the box, or sorry, before we start the boss fight, is what I meant to say, we will need the shield, so make sure you have the shield, make sure it has decent shield on it, and make sure you picked up a fire charge. Again, these fire charges, they are all over the map, like on tables, on bookshelves, on dining tables, on these tables, on boxes, on crates, on barrels, some random spots on the floor probably. If you are having trouble finding one, you can look up a guide for specific spots, but I am of the honest opinion that you probably won't need to do that. You know, just make sure that when you're looking for parts, you're also checking these kind of random outskirty areas too. I guarantee you there's a high chance, you're probably going to find one of these fire charges. They are literally all over the map. They're hard to miss. So again, I'm just going to keep a zombie, and then I will get back to you so I can show you what we have to do next. So the next step to start this night quest, what you have to do is you have to, with your Alistair's Annihilator, shoot into one of these fire charge spots on the map. So commonly for this Easter egg, most people put their fire gate core here at the library and use this one. You're going to have to activate the trap, shoot a charged shot of the Alistair's Annihilator into the trap after it's activated, pull out your shield, and then run around and melee 3 sets of fireplaces in a very specific order. So generally speaking, you're going to be doing one set of fireplaces at a time. I think that's all the time you have for the shield. I don't know. You might be able to do multiple sets. There might be a trick to that, but this is how I generally do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to activate this, charge shot into the fire, pull out the shield, run through it with the shield, double back, and then you're going to start hitting your fireplaces. So again, it's 3 sets of 4 fireplaces that you need to melee in a specific order. If you do not melee them in the right order, you will not get your gemstone when you melee the last one, and I think you'll have other issues with the fireplaces too. I don't remember the exact fail state for this step, but it's something along the lines of this. When done correctly, the last fireplace you melee with the shield will give you a purple gemstone you need to pick up. So, and when you are meleeing the fireplaces, another tip I have for you is the hitbox to light them on fire is just above the logs, like right about there in the middle. Alright? So your first set of fireplaces are going to be here at the library. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and activate the trap. You're going to shoot it with the charge shot of the Annihilator. I'm going to freeze the zombie. Pull out the shield. Run through the trap. You're going to run back here. All the way back to the billiards room. Alright? Or the smoking room. Your first fireplace is here. Go ahead and melee it. Or shield bash it. Your next one is going to be back here in the study. Melee the one that's right there. Okay? Just kind of to the right of the trap. Then do the one that's to the left of the trap. Double back. And then your last one is going to be here in the billiards room. Just right here. Alright? And if done correctly, as you can see, the purple glow, I got a gemstone. I hold square, and I pick it up. So that is our first gemstone that we picked up. So the trap recharged. I'm going to go ahead and buy it again. Shoot through here. So your second set of fireplaces is going to be out here in the main hall. So the first one you're going to hit is right here at the bottom of the east. Then you're going to go up and do the one at the top of the east in this little room next to the Strife. You're going to double back. And then you're going to do the one at the bottom of the west. And then you're going to do the one at the top of the west, which is just up here and to the left. Right there. And then if done successfully, you'll get your next gemstone. So your third set of fireplaces are going to be at the east bedrooms. So go ahead and make your way over there. So you're going to the east bedrooms. And then your first one's going to be right here in the trophy room. Your second one's going to be right here in the kind of master bedroom over here. Then you're going to run all the way around towards the music room. I believe it's called. You're going to hit this one here. You're going to double back. Go all the way back. All the way back. Go through the East Gallery. Open this debris here if you'd like. Go down to the dining room. And then the last fireplace for this set is going to be here in the dining room. And then I do that. And I got my last crystal. And I can pick it up. I'm going to go ahead and save a zombie and then show you what you have to do next. What you have to do with these 3 crystals is go and activate 3 knight statues around the map and then kind of just walk, but don't sprint, you know, because otherwise they can get lost and you might have to go back and get them. You activate 3 knight statues around the map and these 3 gemstones are going to break out of them and they're going to follow you. And you're just going to kind of slow walk around the map and then they will just follow you. You're going to want to get all 3 and then you're going to head to the forest. So, your first possible nice statue is here out in the gardens, which is nice because you finish up there. You're kind of already here. You're just going to go up to the knight statue and activate it like so. It's going to break. And now you're just going to make sure this guy's following you and lead that gemstone with you. Alright? So your next knight statue that you're going to activate is going to be at the stairs that lead up to the east balcony. So I'm just going to walk right there. So it's out here underneath the east hallway. There's your next statue on the right. So we got to make sure that that gemstone's following us. So we might have to go up to it. Yep. And there we go. Now you're just going to walk your way towards the cemetery after you get your other 2 gemstones. Your final knight statue is just going to be up against the right wall at the cemetery. So go ahead and put your next purple gemstone in there, and now you got your last little stone. So now we just have to walk ourselves all the way back, and this time we're going to walk ourselves to the forest. So while here at the forest, you're going to head kind of towards the middle area, and in kind of a straight line from left to right, you're going to have these little symbols on the ground. So I'm going to try to show you that, if I can. So there's one right there. So we have one spot right here. You're just going to walk over them, and then one of the gemstones is going to hover over it. So you need to go to all 3. So the next one is going to be over here on the left. Alright. And now, the very last one, I think, is just right over here. Yep, so it's right here on the ground. Just before this little gravestone down there. It's just right here up on the ground. So what you're going to do is you are going to kill zombies next to these 3 knight statues once the full figure of them appears. Each one of these statues basically acts as a soul box. You're going to kill them until all 3 of them move all the way down here next to Pack-a-Punch. Once they're down here at Pack-a-Punch, they're going to form a triangle shape. You are going to then need to kill a werewolf in here. And, you know, you can use the specialist. I like to use the specialist for the werewolf kill personally. It makes it nice and easy. But anyways, we got to start filling up these knights. So go ahead and just pick any knight and start killing zombies next to it in your game. Do note that the knights do move incrementally. So eventually what you're going to have to do is follow them down to start filling them up again, because they're going to start moving down towards there. So again, the Alistair Annihilator is great for regular zombie kills, even vampire kills and stuff. Just those charge shots, they help out a lot. It also doesn't hurt to start upgrading your Spitfire. We're going to want to be fully Pack-a-Punch before we enter the boss fight, just be aware. Alright, so we have all 3 of our knights have now been moved over here, and they form the triangle. So you need to get the werewolf in the triangle. They will start spawning in. And just make sure you kill them in the triangle. Alright? So there's my werewolf. I'm going to go ahead and pop my specialist, and I'm just going to go hammer time on this guy. And there we go. We killed the werewolf inside the triangle, nice and easy. The specialist makes that very easy. All those kind of ghosts or crystals are going to go into the ground. And there is your next lockdown challenge slab, alright? So literally, all it is the exact same thing as before. We are literally doing the exact same thing we did for the other 2 challenges. Make sure there's ammo in your Annihilator. Make sure there's ammo in your Spitfire, at least a decent amount. Make sure your shield's fully repaired. And then we're just going to go right back over to that slab. If you're in co-op, all your teammates will have to use it. Just remember that. And then we will start the final challenge before the boss. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my slab because I'm ready to do the final lockdown challenge. So this final lockdown challenge kind of just acts as like a tower defense kind of like type thing. Again, really the best way I've seen that people usually play this is they usually just camp like right here in this area. This is usually a pretty good area to camp. And also another thing about this lockdown, you will have the gems out here helping you. So the knights, they will be here and actually try to like kill zombies and stuff. So it's not like you're going to be completely unequipped for this. I don't know if this is exclusive to this challenge or not, but I also noticed that a lot of like catalyst zombies like to spawn in during this, so just be aware of that. Watch out for the fire guys because they can really mess you up. Alright, so our werewolves just now spawned in. So now is also a good time to pop your specialist if you haven't already. Again, the specialist works really good on the werewolves. You want to start hammering into them. And you do want to get these werewolves killed as soon as possible because they are the key to getting this challenge over with. Alright, so I just killed that one and we're going to collect our last stone. Got another max ammo. Now, at this point, at least for solo, I mean, I don't know if this would work. I haven't tested this in co-op, but for solo, as long as you go and repair your shield after you pick up that max ammo. This is post-editing David coming in. At this point, if you have a lot of points left over after you've gotten your quad pack punch Spitfire as well as your repaired shield, if you want to quickly go and run and spam the box a little bit to see if you can get homunculuses out of it, that's absolutely not a bad idea. Again, they do help a lot during the boss fight, especially when you're like trying to turn the little stone tiles in the corner of the boss arena, which I'll show you how to do in the video. But you absolutely do not 100% need homunculuses, and I guarantee you do not need the Hellion or anything else. Again, all you need is the max pack-a-punch Spitfire with silver bullets, the Alistair's Annihilator with a decent ammo in it, and the repaired shield. And all your perks, too. So in order to start the boss fight, you and your team are going to have to go back to the forest, and just after you get to the forest, go ahead and make a hard right, hug the right wall, and you should see this lit up door over here that has symbols on it. You might want to shoot a shot down from the Annihilator just to protect you while you're holding square on it. And then eventually you'll be locked in place, the door will open, and this will start the boss fight. So the boss on this map is a werewolf that is invisible. So your goal is to kill this invisible werewolf. In order to do that, you need to put him into a green force field that spawns on the ground that will reveal him, and then you and all your team need to step in it in order for the werewolf to get killed. Now, here's the catch. You need to align all these beams in the corner of this boss fight with that one green thing. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up, and it's just like you're rotating it. You just got to hold square to rotate. I think it rotates to about where you're standing. And then you are just going to align it with the square beam. Whoops, come on. This way. Yep, so I think it's just like where you're standing. Yep, there we go. So once all three are lined up, you're going to go ahead and stand in it. And then while you're standing in it, the werewolf's going to charge towards you. When he gets in here, just light him up with the Spitfire. Shoot down a shot of the Annihilator, and just light him up with the Spitfire. That is all you have to do. Alright? And then don't forget you have a permanent max ammo and a permanent carpenter over here. That is all you have to do for the first phase. Now, I do want to explain something real quick. So the attack that the main werewolf does is you will see the ground kind of like dust flare up in the ground while he's invisible. That's because he's charging towards you. You want to avoid that attack as much as possible. I think it does 3 hit points worth of the damage, so it can take you down to a 1 hit, basically, by a regular zombie if you get hit by it. Number 2 about this boss fight, which I didn't explain because that went so fast, is that there's 3 phases to it. We actually just beat the first phase really fast. Again, that's why the strategy's so good with the Spitfire and the Annihilator combo. It works really well. So the first phase, yeah, you just align those beams in the corners of the room until their beam is kind of green, and they're all facing towards that green square or rectangle on the floor. You'll know if they're right if the beam coming out of them is green instead of white. All right? So that's how you finish the first phase. And also each phase you will get a permanent carpenter and a max ammo. I should also mention that. So preserve them as much as you can. The second phase, which is what we're on now, all you have to do is kill all the werewolves and zombies that spawn in. It's as simple as that. That's all you have to do for this second phase. So again, same rules apply as before. We're using the Annihilator for survival, and we're using the Spitfire. Well, the Annihilator for regular zombies and protection, with the charge shots, and then we're using the Spitfire for the killing of the werewolves and also the boss. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. I'm just gonna kind of run donuts around here. I mean, this is a really nice and open space. You shouldn't have too much trouble with enemies here. So just make sure you keep moving around. You can just kind of do donuts, and it works. At least the hammer works really well on the werewolves. Alright, so it looks like we are now entering phase 3. So the lights on these things in the corners are going to turn back on, alright? Now this time there's a catch to phase 3. So it's the exact same as phase 1. We have to turn it to the rectangle, although it starts out invisible initially. So what you have to do is just rotate these things around, like, you know, with different, like, paths and stuff, until one glows green and reveals the rectangle on the map. So you can go ahead and just do that. And you might just have to guess around for a little bit for these. Okay, so as you can see, we just revealed that green rectangle. I think I accidentally got hit by the invisible werewolf, so try not to let that happen. That can take a lot of damage out of you. So now that we just guessed around and we found it, all we have to do is go ahead and align the rest of those. Again, try to keep your eyes open. I think the screen will start going a little bit blurry when he starts charging towards you, so just be aware of that. So again, he just charged into that center beam right here. I shot one charge shot of the Annihilator down on the ground. Now I'm just going to hammer into him with the Spitfire. And with that Spitfire, you can kill him really fast. Now, I do want to make one recommendation. Again, you don't need the homunculus. As you can see, I did it without the homunculus. If you want to get homunculuses just to like help with turning these things around, you know, to be able to throw one out, especially if you're not too used to playing zombies, it absolutely does not hurt to go ahead and do that. It will help make this boss fight easier. I just wanted to show you that you can, in fact, do it without homunculuses and without the Hellion. And that's all there is to it. Once you kill the werewolf, the screen will fade out, and you will get the ending cutscene on the map. So again, this has been David from the Mr. Black YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I hope you had fun watching my guide. And I hope you learned something new. Alright, see y'all later.